I've been leveling really fast and getting an absolute ton of legendary items. I'm level 71 now in the game. And if you look at the legendary items I've just got Ulas of these things, lots of Ancestros, etc., Ancestral Uniques, and all of that. This farming route will not only give you the best experience we found in the game, literally up to 12 million experience an hour if you have a full party, but it also gives you a ton of legendaries, and it's really easy to do. This works in any difficulty level, but we are farming it in Torment because it gives us 200% increased experience. If you can't do it there, do the Nightmare. If you can't do it in there, just drop it down till you can do it. This experience farm is located exactly here. It is called Champion's Demise. This is highly efficient when done with exactly 3 players. The reason for this is when you enter any dungeon, that can be any of these types of dungeons on the map here, whenever you enter these things, they have different types of experience than anywhere else in the map. Normally in the overworld, for instance, if you're looking like on this, anywhere within sort of like this region to this region, within a certain area of each other, you can receive experience. Typically about 3 or 4 screens away from each other, you can still receive experience. It's effectively a giant circle around you. Anything that's killed in a circle around you, you can get experience. Dungeons do not work this way, and that's what we're going to be abusing today. So if you look inside of the dungeon, if you sit here just at the entrance or literally anywhere within this, if you're anywhere within the same instance of a dungeon, then you will get experience from any mobs killed within that dungeon. So we have found a spot that effectively has a triangle right next to the entrance. So you run to the entrance and there's a triangle of these big lanes you go down in a party, and you can kill all of them at the same time because one of each 3 players goes down these 3 lanes, and it is highly efficient experience. Like I said, we got up to 12 million an hour. It might be tempting to do things like events in the overworld. It might be tempting to do PvP zone. We actually did 4 hours of PvP zone farming in order to test this. Dungeon farming, because of the ability to split up and each kill mobs at the same time, is significantly faster if done right and the right dungeon. You also might be wondering, how do we farm the same dungeon over and over again with the removal of the reset dungeon button? I'm going to explain that as well, as you can still reset dungeons. I live stream this on twitch.tv/DarthMicrotransaction. There will be a link in the description in case you wish to watch it. I'm going to show you a full run. This is how you do this. You have somebody go inside of the dungeon already and invite 2 other additional players. Chosen was already in the dungeon. We invited Kyre and invited me. You all join the dungeon, and then using the teleport next to town, you teleport to the person already in the dungeon. One of you each picks a lane. There is a triangle of lanes. I went to the bottom left. Chosen went to the bottom right. Kyre goes to the top left. This is effectively how this is done, okay? Now, each of you clears a lane. At the end of the lane, you all teleport back to town. The one person who made the party originally leaves out of the party. You then all leave out of the party. The first person invites everybody back. This will now reset the dungeon, which can be redone. That person goes back into the dungeon. We teleport on top of him, effectively from the middle of the triangle, restarting the run yet again. I'm sure this is confusing, so I've gone to the dungeon in order to actually show you this from the beginning, okay? I'm not going to do it in a party. I'm just going to show you the layout, explain how it works, and then I'm going to show you some clips of actually how to do this as well. So, first thing, here's the dungeon. I have entered the dungeon. If I was the person who was making the party, I would immediately go to my friends list and invite my friends, okay? From here, you're going to walk left until you get to the center. The center of the map is just to the left, which is right here. You're going to see the triangles on your screen. Once you are here, this is basically, you can either invite the people at the entrance or invite them right here. Each of these areas this way has a straight lane. This has a straight lane to here, and this has a straight lane to here. This is a very short, easy dungeon, and very often there will be 2 or 3 shrines as well, making it even faster. You run all the way to basically the end of the dungeon, okay? You get all the way to the end here while you're killing all of these. Once you've made it to the end, slaying everything, and you can drag them with you and then kind of kite them behind. Let me show you here. I'll get all the way to the end. And just to show you like how many mobs there are, it's an actually insane amount of mobs. It is a very difficult dungeon. You can see the HP is going down here, but this is the end of it, okay? So let me just show you here. This is a straight lane. See this lane? There's a little circle right here. So if you walk back, you can do the circle as well, but it's effectively a straight lane. And there's 3 of those across the map. That's why you want 3 players. So each of you kills all the minions to the end of the lane. As soon as each of you make it to the end of the lane, you all hit T, effectively teleporting to town. Here's examples of me and the party of 3 slowly clearing. I've got to the end here. I'm going to clear out these mobs, and then I'm going to teleport to town. Here you can see me. I am effectively looking at the map to see if it's cleared. Now that I realize it's cleared, I'm going to go back to town because all 3 of the lanes were done right as I finished my lane, which means I just got 3 times the experience, okay? Each one of those lanes, even though it was all the way across the map, because we're in a dungeon, not the overworld, I'm getting experience 4. So watch, this is the process, okay? We just cleared the dungeon. I go back to town. Takes a little bit in the loading screen. But then you go back into your friends list and you request an invite to the first person who left. Here you go. I'm going down to my friends list, request join party. He will accept me into the party. Now what's going to happen is you are going to get a load, but not a loading screen. It's very fast, okay? So there's only one loading screen. Now I can click on these portos and teleport back inside of the dungeon already. So I don't have to go to the dungeon, don't have to do anything. I can just teleport into the dungeon because the one party member isn't going back to town. He's just staying near that dungeon, going out, make a new party, going back in. Every time you make a new party, it resets it. You see how I just spawned in the exact middle of the dungeon. Now I go farm my lane. The other people go farm each of their lanes, rinse and repeat. Over and over and over again. I'm not joking when I say this is the best experience that we've figured out anywhere. We've tried full parties, we've tried overworld, PvP zones, nightmare dungeons with sigils. We've tried everything. This was blowing it out of the water. It was not even close because of the fact that you can farm this huge density of mobs, and very often with shrines. Basically, every run has 1 or 2 shrines. They're just not always in the same lane, but they are pretty much always in the same spot that you're used to. You can pick those up, farm the quick kills. The mob density is very dense. This is a hard strategy because it is a difficult mob. You need good lightning resistance, and there's a lot of CC, so you might need to drop the difficulty down. But if you can clear these mobs, this is extremely fast farming experience, extremely fast items. We were getting, I think I got 4 ancestral uniques during this time that we were farming this. I know I got over 50 normal and sacred and ancestral legendaries. And you don't even have to pick them up for experience. Every 10 legendaries or so, you go check your stash and your legendaries automatically go back to your stash. So you just go check them. You see, oh, they're in the stash. It's perfectly fine. And you claim them and then you go back. And you just keep doing it again. So you can do 3 or 4 dungeons in a row, and then you go, you claim from your stash, and then you just do it again. So everything is extremely efficient. From the farm with this triple layer, you have the extreme efficiency of going back to town to reset the dungeons and teleporting back to the actual middle of the dungeon map. You have the efficiency of not needing to pick up any legendaries, look at them or anything. You can just grab them and add them to your stash. It's the fastest min-max strat we've had. It's a little bit sweaty. It's a little bit try-hard. But from the math testing we did, it's the best. It's the best that we were able to find with our skill set, our characters, etc. It just works really, really well. So give it a shot. See what you think. If you're looking for just experience and legendaries, this won't give you a ton of renown farm or anything like that. But for experience and for legendary items and uniques and all that, this easily beats everything else I've figured out so far.